Hey guys, welcome back to another What If here. Today we're doing part 2 to What If Naruto wakes up as a girl after rave. If you want to know what happened in the last part, then there'll be a link in the description down below to take you to a place where you can watch the previous part 1, and then a future part that gets added into this series, more specifically 5 more. And anyway, with that guys, let's get into this. So we'll be starting off with, well, it would be somewhat a week could go by from when we last left off, or about a week. It would actually be the it'd be somewhat Sunday, as somewhat Naruto, though the part would be somewhat sitting in kind of a somewhat random far out training ground, as somewhat somewhat just kind of training, kind of current training, somewhat female or Konrichi outfit, and yeah, she still hasn't told anyone yet, of course, besides from Hiruzen and the female somewhat Anbu medic Nin are still the only two that know of her gender. And though she'd be just somewhat kind of just similarly somewhat sitting down with her somewhat eyes shut, kind of somewhat though trying to kind of find an odd feeling she'd been feeling for the past kind of day or so, and that somewhat odd feeling was kind of, it was just like she couldn't sort of explain it. It was just a kind of unique feeling that she felt. She wasn't sure of it, and yeah, though thankfully those should actually sort of find it once more, but instead of kind of just being somewhat wary of it, somewhat like yesterday, she kind of was, as she'd kind of somewhat found it and was wary of it too, as she didn't know what it would obviously do. This time around she just somewhat almost embraced that somewhat feeling in which she could feel her chakra start to mold. She would somewhat momentarily kind of want to kind of grab control again and push it away, but she'd kind of stop herself from doing that, and before long it would all of a sudden stop. Her chakra would feel very weird. It was somewhat, it was no jutsu she was used to, so transformation, replacement, Sunshin and while the shadow clone jutsu. Yeah, though she'd end up, though somewhat her eyes, which had been kind of gently shut, would all of a sudden kind of shut, that, or at least somewhat that was shut, would somewhat seem even tight all of a sudden, as anyone that was kind of looking at her would see just sheer pain across her somewhat face and her body, as pain would just randomly start racking her body, as her chakra would all of a sudden start somewhat building up in her somewhat area. Those should, finally those should kind of somewhat open up her, she'd somewhat snap open her eyes, taking in a somewhat gasp of breath and letting out a somewhat groan / somewhat moan, as the pain would somewhat disappear, and she'd kind of wonder what would somewhat happen, as she'd somewhat turn her head to her back, and she'd be frozen in surprise and shock. A golden chain came out of her back. What was it? Of course, she just she just somewhat had triggered the adamantium chains. Yeah, though it'd just be a single chain, though somewhat she could see it, and it looked incredibly thin, barely even probably somewhat a millimeter or two thick, and it looked just incredibly weak, and as such she'd kind of wonder how strong it was, so kind of grabbing somewhat one of the chain links, she'd try and bend it, but it wouldn't even snap. She'd put a lot of force, she'd put all her force into it, even sending chakra into her hands, but it wouldn't budge. Somewhat it would gain a slight bend to it after all that somewhat force, but well, yeah, though once she'd let go of it, she'd see the kind of just chain link kind of just go from a slight bend to being back to normal again. And something like this, she'd also realise she also kind of lost a tiny amount of chakra like that, and she'd realise she was also it was siphoning off a tiny amount at the moment. And so some time would go by, and before she knew it, she was at 50% of her reserves, and while she'd been messing about with the chain, and she'd realised she could make more, though it was kind of a lot harder to make another one, and it of course increased the amount of chakra drained. She'd also learned that she could of course extend and retract the chain. And yeah, though something she was kind of curious was what if she just cut chakra to the chain, what would happen? Would it simply retract, or would it just disappear as the chakra within it would kind of cease to, or it would cease to be renewed by a new chakra? So would it just cease to exist? And well, yeah, with her reserves starting to fall below 50%, she'd do so, cutting chakra, and she'd watch the chain perceived to just seemingly start, or at least for a moment or two it would be fine, though of course quickly then it would start degrading. She'd momentarily wonder what would happen if she sent more chakra. She'd start flowing chakra, but she'd guess it would just repair, and yeah, so she'd watch it kind of just disappear. And yeah, though she'd mentally mentally at that, she was pretty much losing chakra. She once it was maybe potentially good to do that in when she kind of really had to, if she kind of hit a very low amount of chakra, as even as pulling in chain wise, she would gain obviously chakra back. She's still losing chakra due to the chain still being in existence until it was all in her. And yeah, anyway, and yeah, she'd wonder about potentially telling Kakashi or maybe Hiruzen, but she'd decide against it as kind of a maybe kind of trump card, surprise, and plus it didn't all look all that kind of strong, so she'd decide that she'd learn more about this chain thing, whatever it could really do. And yeah, of course, though she'd she'd also have to train her control with it as well, pretty much having to, or at least she'd have to, or at least have to kind of use resort to pretty much doing handwriting, pretty much like handwriting training. Not really handwriting, well yeah, just like handwriting. After all, if she could write just as good as she can with the chain as she can with her hand, then while she could obviously use it as a an extra appendage, a chakra appendage, which would be useful if she to have her lose an arm. She could obviously still do she could still grab stuff, and that it would just be with a chakra chain instead. And yeah, though with that, those should do those should kind of obviously do a normal thing of making a couple of clones and starting to spy against them. As yeah. Anyway, though the next day, when she'd come into the training ground dressed up into her normal shinobi outfit, and well, yeah, Kakashi'd go, now that you're all here, well, today, we're going to do something different. Instead of just the, kind of workout and then sparring. They would look at Kakashi and some curiosity, as Kakashi would go, well, today, you'll be learning what your elemental affinity is and start learning how to control it as well. They would somewhat kind of start at him as Naruto would go elemental affinity, in which Kakashi would nod as he'd proceed to explain to them about there being 5 basic elements: wind, fire, earth, water and lightning, and somewhat in the order of somewhat the strongest to weakest. So pretty much fire was strong against wind. No, it'd be so it would be fire, then somewhat water, then earth, lightning, wind and fire again. Yeah, that order would go with. They would somewhat nod at that, and yeah, it would perceive to, of course, somewhat hand out, in which Sasuke would state that he already knew his element, and someone who was fire, though Kakashi would simply tell him with a somewhat edge to his voice to simply just amuse him or them. And yeah, Sasuke would just somewhat grunt and would, of course, somewhat being somewhat arrogant, would go fast, in which it would crinkle up into a ball, in which Kakashi would go, ha! Somewhat, well, thought it would be fire then, Sasuke, huh? Sasuke would just somewhat kind of grit his teeth in somewhat annoyance, though he wouldn't somewhat say anything. And yeah, from there he would somewhat like say look over to Sakura, who would send a small amount of chakra into the piece of paper, which would perceive to catch light and burn. So he'd somewhat, of course, freak out slightly and be able to drop to the ground. From there he'd somewhat look over, he'd somewhat just nod, and he'd go, so we've got a somewhat fire, a lightning, and well, you'd somewhat mentally kind of want a water or earth based user for somewhat protection, and yeah, and somewhat to kind of get his wish, as somewhat Naruto would somewhat send a small amount of chakra into, well, it's as small as amount of chakra as he could into some of the piece of paper, as it perceived to just, as water would just perceived to burst seemingly out of somewhat just nowhere and drench an entire hand. Though Kakashi go, water, though Naruto would somewhat narrow her eyes, though she wouldn't say anything. And yeah, though, and well, yeah, just like somewhat Sakura, she'd let it go into the ground. Yeah, from there Kakashi would go, would somewhat go, well, Sasuke, what I want you to do is somewhat sit down, put your fingers somewhat, let's say, from one another a somewhat distance, and try and send lightning chakra from one to another without electrocuting yourself. Sakura, I want you to grab a leaf and put it between your hands, but make sure no air can get into it. Once you do that, send chakra into it and try and burn sort the leaf to cause it to either somewhat turn into charcoal or into ash. Preferably ash, but charcoal is also fine. Sakura would somewhat nod, and you'd then turn to Naruto and would somewhat tell her that she'd just seemingly have to kind of push somewhat a late, or at least somewhat, she'd have to push up, somewhat the, or at least the flow of somewhat lake in the opposite direction, which should just kind of start Kakashi, and Kakashi would just start her before you'd somewhat, Naruto would go, you're joking, right? You'd go, no, I'm not. She'd somewhat just decide though, just as she'd somewhat about to leave, you'd go, of course I am. Somewhat, it's just to somewhat go to a lake and actually kind of somewhat make a ball of water the somewhat size of a somewhat, oh yeah, to make a somewhat ball of water in your hand that's a comfortable size in your hand. That Naruto would allow a somewhat sigh of relief and would nod. Though Naruto would somewhat decide, well, there was 3, so why not the other 2? So I did ask Kakashi about the, well yeah, Naruto would go, but essentially what about the other 2? I don't know, some of the 3, why not, the other two as well? Kakashi would think about it for a sec before someone nodding, and he'd say that when you just had to put a leaf between your someone's hands and someone send chakra into it to split it in half, and Earth to put a stone, to somewhat crack a stone in half or split it in half with Earth chakra. They'd nod and Kakashi gesture for them to follow him, and after some time they'd arrive at a decently sized lake, to which he'd somewhat tell somewhat Sasuke that he can obviously somewhat sit down. Sakura, she could somewhat sit down, or go find a leaf and sit down or stand up, whatever. Yeah, though he'd somewhat obviously think as Naruto would go over to the somewhat side of the lake, and would try and somewhat make a ball. Though he'd somewhat tell Naruto to kind of somewhat walk into the lake a bit. Though Naruto would somewhat just start him, and of course Naruto's mind would somewhat momentarily kind of somewhat think, oh, that's kind of somewhat stupid, it's my first time trying to do it. It'd be, I'd potentially, not, converting, somewhat chakra into water-based chakra, would potentially sink, so we'd decide against that. But somewhat also kind of realised that Kakashi somewhat perverted with somewhat or at least everyone that sees Naruto as a him is obviously say something that kind of instinct of somewhat Kakashi seemingly just wanting to kind of see a more seemingly private bits. We'd kind of somewhat get a slightly somewhat mad, and it'd be slightly in a somewhat seemingly voice, slightly though. And though she'd somewhat have to kind of rein in, somewhat realising that Kakashi didn't know she was a gal. So yeah. Anyway, though, from from there, as they'd tried Kakashi, or at least somewhat during lunch, he'd tell them that once they get to about halfway through their somewhat training, they will somewhat he'll teach them a jutsu in their somewhat element, in which that would ask if that was somewhat smart, as they wouldn't be able to properly control it. Kakashi would somewhat be often him off, as somewhat did state that the actual elemental chakra control wasn't really necessarily, it's just kind of somewhat a way to build up your ability to manipulate and mould your elemental chakra, and of course somewhat build up your control over it. In which Naruto somewhat just kind of nod that realization, plus should somewhat also realise that Sasuke probably didn't have no fire elemental based somewhat training. So yeah, and so from there, all these, they would somewhat return back, and by the end of their training day, so it'd be somewhat say similarly like 3-4 o'clock now PM. Somewhat Kakashi to somewhat give some pointers to Sasuke to somewhat speed it up, though he'd somewhat apologise to kind of Sakura and Naruto, and would state that his obviously main element is lightning, so he's got to know the trick with that. But when it comes to the somewhat others, it would simply somewhat tell them to maybe go seek. At least they would state that he wasn't really sure about somewhat Naruto, though, for Sakura to tell Sakura to go seek out Asuma, as he's somewhat a wind and fire user, and that he can somewhat tell her the trick with kind of using fire to get it down somewhat a bit faster. Sakura would somewhat nod at that, kind of thanking him, and though Naruto would somewhat decided to just go to the old man, because the old man is stated to have mastered, or to have kind of learnt / mastered all 5 elements, so surely he would know. And yeah, so once they were dismissed, she'd she'd send Shin over to the tower and would ask Hiruzen, would tell Hiruzen that they were learning about their or at least training in their elements now, and she'd ask them if he knew a trick with water kind of manipulation, and which he'd smile and he'd proceed to tell her about fire, then wind, then lightning, then earth, then water. Yeah, he'd when she'd ask why somebody told her all five, Hiruzen would just shrug and go, well, who knows, maybe you may just learn all 5 elements one day, and less knowledge now or talent for you. So it should just blink those, should nod, thank the old man. From there she'd go home, change the clothes into her Konrichi training outfit, so she can get used to her body, and from there go off to proceed to mess about with the chain, or at least train in controlling her golden chain for a bit, until she got about 50% of her reserves remaining, and then would make a couple of clones to spar against to refine her hand-to-hand combat when, with her actual now body. And so though she'd also though as she'd be sparring with her clones, she'd start to wonder if she should maybe tell Kakashi that she actually had 2 elements, as when the water was pretty much pouring out between her fingers and her hand, she'd also seen the water split. Sure, it could mean that she had she knew if it split it was wind, true, but she also knew that it could also just be the weight of the water flowing past it, and it being soggy, paper getting soggy, it's easy to rip and that, so she knowing of that would potentially it could be that, but it could also be she had potentially a wind affinity and she wasn't really sure if she should tell Kakashi and Hiruzen, or to just keep it to herself and maybe train in wind somewhat. But as she'd think about that, she'd decide that she should try and, or at least train in water for a bit more, up till she can make a somewhat smallish ball in her hand, and from there, of course, when training with Kakashi, water, and then when you're by herself, some training, some time to train in her controlling her chain, some chakra control training, some taijutsu training, and then some wind-based training as well. And so I figured it'd probably be better to do that on separate days to maximise the amount of time she could spend with each one, instead of just a small amount of time in each one, as and yeah. So with that kind of set, the weeks would go on by, and by the end of the end of the month, there'd be at about they'd be around about 50%. And so Kakashi would teach them their first jutsu, Sasuke being Kakashi would teach Sasuke a kind of E2/D rank lightning jutsu, which was a simple lightning jutsu in which would paralyze their target. And for a short period of time, Sakura should teach Kakashi teach Sakura Fire Style Fireball, and Naruto water style water wall. Something in which Naruto would feel slightly somewhat unfair because, you know, Sasuke and Sakura got kind of, you know, somewhat more attack based, somewhat jutsus, and should kind of be somewhat useless, you know, doing kind of water wall after water wall after water. She can't attack with a fucking water wall. How could she? Yeah, not unless you just, you know, make it an insanely, you know, massive water wall and then someone would cancel it out or cancel it in such a way so like the water fell forward and then kind of hope that the massive amount of water goes in the somewhat direction of their enemy and can sweep them away or crush them. You know, yeah. Those should somewhat learn it and, well, and should be the first to somewhat learn a jutsu, learn it quite quickly after all. Though Kakashi could somewhat very much sense her somewhat annoyance with seemingly being, you know, kind of, you know, somewhat put to the side when it came to attacking after all. Well, yeah, you know, both lightning and fire are attack based. You know, somewhat, well, yeah, attacking based elements. They don't have no really defensive, somewhat, jutsus in them. Plus, you can't really, the only thing you can somewhat use fire to defend yourself against is either if you can make fire hot enough to defend yourself against water, or with somewhat wind, though both wind can put out fire and water can somewhat either put out fire or just go through it, and, you know, you'd now have warm, high pressure water hitting you. So yeah, it was a double-edged kind of potential sword, and, well, water, well, yeah, it was more useful in the, well, yeah. Anyway, though as somewhat the kind of, as though the somewhat third day of their training, or somewhat after the somewhat resumed their jutsu and that, and go by, Kakashi would kind of, or at least somewhat when Naruto would be returning home one night, at least to actually train, kind of get changed into a somewhat Konorichi outfit. She'd somewhat would see a scroll on a somewhat table going over somewhat to a kitchen table. She'd someone opened it up to see that it was a simple somewhat jutsu water style water bullet, and, well, yeah, somewhat looking, though somewhat reading, also you'd realise, or at least at the bottom, somewhat, you know, Kakashi would write a slight smaller somewhat apology for kind of just dumping her as like the team's kind of defensive kind of somewhat person. And yeah, somewhat after all he kind of realised, well, at least really why Naruto was really a lot more annoyed, because, you know, she had a shite ton more, or in Kakashi's mind he had a shite ton more chakra than Sasuke or Sakura. You know, Naruto had so much more chakra than them that, you know, it's stupid for them to have an attack based somewhat jutsu and Naruto to be the defensive one after somewhat, you know, all it would be like useless, granted. Oh yeah, anyway, though somewhat after that, and of course once she somewhat hit 50%, she'd started also training in wind as well, and yeah. And anyway, though, before they knew it, somewhat they would reach 100%, and at reaching somewhat 100%, Kakashi would once more give them somewhat a jutsu, Sasuke lightning style, lightning field, a somewhat lightning based, somewhat elemental jutsu in which, somewhat somewhat gave somewhat his opponent an electric shock and paralysed them when they're within somewhat the somewhat jutsu's range, which is a short range or short-ranged jutsu, though it would state training it would of course increase it naturally, and yeah, it's somewhat range of effect. And yeah, Sakura would get Fire Style Phoenix Flower, and yeah, Naruto would actually get to the somewhat a defensive one, just the alternate of somewhat water, somewhat, or at least water, somewhat the alternative version to Water Wall, which was Water Dome, and you'd get somewhat, yeah, a second somewhat kind of slightly attacking, can be attacking, and can also be somewhat a defensive one as well, which is Water Style Water Shockwave, a water-based somewhat elemental ninjutsu in which generates a ring of water around the user, in which somewhat once the person somewhat triggers it, it will shoot off in somewhat a, obviously somewhat in a circle around somewhat the user, pushing away somewhat people, though if it's put under higher pressure or more water is put into it to increase pressure, it can either go further, and if it's increased high enough, it can go right through people, thus being a killer base move, slicing people in half. And yeah, that would be, for her, it'd be slightly disturbing, but also somewhat surprising to know something, like water, something which, is required for to live, everyone to live, can be so dangerous and such high pressure. It was kind of surprising. And yeah, though it would also state that it had an alternative version somewhat down below, which would continue to read, and which would say Water Style Water somewhat Dome Shockwave, a somewhat semi 360 degree or full 360 whilst in somewhat air, which generates a severe somewhat a dome around the user, or a ball around somewhat the user, in which will kind of shoot outwards, and somewhat would somewhat obviously be able to push people back, though it's an alternative version to the Water Shockwave and Water Dome. So yeah, and she'd realise, obviously, if she learnt Water Dome first, she could then proceed to somewhat not necessarily stop when reaching the bottom of the first somewhat V1 Water Shockwave, and then go into V1.1 or 2, and yeah, though it wouldn't state that it would be though somewhat unlike the somewhat Water Shockwave, which was a blip, and let's say somewhat somewhat the Water Dome Shockwave was just a obviously somewhat an expanding, rapidly expanding either dome or sphere of somewhat water to push back enemies, and that no matter how high pressure it was, due to the rapid expanding in all, obviously somewhat in all directions, it would lose potentially any somewhat killing effect, and it would have to be put under such high pressure that it would rapidly expand outwards. But that would be mainly down to the force pushed on somewhat the inside her, somewhat another side chakra, forcing somewhat to hit outwards at an expanding rate. So it should have to increase its pressure to, of course, increase its overall somewhat size. And yeah, then she could see that the three, pretty much in a way, three jutsu Kakashi gave her were three very sort of useful jutsus. And yeah, and so sort of from there, somewhat well, yeah, somewhat it would be now, well, it's 3 months and 2 weeks since they'd somewhat become a team, and they'd somewhat arrive, and Kakashi would somewhat tell them. Somewhat when they'd arrive, Kakashi would somewhat to tell them that they would be something like, or at least that Kakashi would, or at least somewhat he himself would be going against Sasuke, and that somewhat Sakura and Naruto would be going against somewhat one another, and that they should only somewhat use their somewhat elemental affinity. And yeah, that's somewhat Naruto and Kakashi would make a shadow clone to obviously somewhat watch Sakura and Naruto's somewhat spar. Also, they'd also started level 2 somewhat elemental manipulation, and anyway. And Rich Naruto did find out that it really was pushing somewhat a stream back, so when he first initially stated that, he was in a way kind of cluing in somewhat, or at least her into somewhat, the hardship. I don't really have one for Sasuke and Sakura. Maybe Sakura to kind of maybe turn an entire tree with the leaves, into either charcoal or somewhat into ash. I don't really know, and I'm not really sure what Sasuke's one could be. Trying to generate a bolt of lightning or something like that. I'm not sure. If you guys have any ideas, do say in the comments down below how much level 2 would be for fire and lightning. And and anyway, though, somewhat with that, though, they only somewhat, though, once they somewhat part ways, to obviously give somewhat the of them some space. Kakashi would go somewhat Naruto, or at least Naruto and Sakura would go near the somewhat lake, and Kakashi and Sasuke would stay in the the clearing near to the entrance of Training Ground 7. And though somewhat Naruto would kind of wonder momentarily somewhat why Kakashi used a shadow clone, but it wouldn't last somewhat long when they would arrive there, and they would somewhat, after being spaced apart, the Shadow Kakashi would start the fight, and though somewhat almost immediately Sakura would start going through hand signs, and Naruto would somewhat wait, and she'd somewhat wait even more, as she'd somewhat, and though finally Sakura would reach the end of the somewhat hand signs, as Sakura would state fire style fireball, as Naruto would somewhat realise that Sakura had gone through the full somewhat set of hand signs. How she knew Sakura had gone through the full set, while when Sakura was trying to get it down, she'd seen obviously Sakura go through the full set of hand signs a couple of times, and it's also clear that she'd done it to the point of where she could do the jutsu, but not to the point of where the hand signs were comfortable for her to use, which meant her speed was down slow, and she was already slow in doing hand signs. And while she could already do water wall, water dome, water bullet, and somewhat those three about, or at least somewhat, water wall she could pretty much do with just 1/4 of the hand signs required. Water somewhat bullet and dome required half the hand signs. And then somewhat water, and then somewhat water shockwave and water dome shockwave required 3/4 of the hand signs, but hey, she's obviously bringing them down, unlike Sakura, who was just seemingly learning a jutsu enough to be able to use it, and that was it, leaving it, not bothering to so much, learn its ins and outs and get, efficient with it. As of course, the more you use a jutsu, the more you naturally get efficient with it, as you learn the ins and outs of the jutsu and how it functions. The more you understand how it functions, the more efficient you get when someone's obviously casting the jutsu. And yeah, and so Naruto somewhat see the somewhat water, or the fireball coming. I should somewhat go through half the hand. I should somewhat should quickly go through hand signs and would state water style, water wall, in which a wall of water would somewhat appear, and the small fireball would hit with the water and would immediately generate steam, though the wall would still be standing with it barely. Though with it seemingly now being already somewhat obviously now somewhat misty, Sakura would proceed to start running through another set of hand signs. What she's done should somewhat call out stupidly fire style phoenix flower, and would throw in some kunai and shuriken like she'd seen somewhat Sasuke do in his training before with this jutsu. And as they somewhat fly obviously through the sky, Naruto would obviously hear the call out and would just somewhat shake her head, though of course neither really Shadow Kakashi nor Sakura could somewhat see her, so she'd go through some hand signs, altering the water wall to become a water dome, and somewhat using the chakra from the somewhat from water, but she'd also realise some of the chakra from the some of the water from the mist was starting to reform. Obviously, with somewhat kind of return, and she'd realise that she could potentially pull water from the air itself, potentially. And those should know that would require a shit ton of training, but hey, it was possible after all. And those should somewhat thicken up the water somewhat dome, and a somewhat couple balls of fire would hit, and the only thing Sakura would hear would be the sound of kunai and shuriken hitting the floor. And by the time they'd gone through the water dome, they'd lost pretty much all their speed. If not, they had a tiny amount of speed, but gravity and friction ran over, and they hit the floor. And though Naruto would then somewhat perceived to go through another couple of set of hand signs, and didn't even say the water somewhat dome. She wasn't going to call it out, as she somewhat wouldn't somewhat call this one out as well as a massive though somewhat as Sakura would do to somewhat Naruto's surprise, or at least slight surprise, as she'd finish off somewhat the jutsu water style water dome shockwave. The mist would clear up, and she'd hear a cry of pain as surprisingly Sakura somewhat ran in to try and attack her. But though she'd hear obviously somewhat as she'd somewhat look over and would see Sakura kind of something in the tree, and though as Sakura would get up to suddenly almost dart forward again, she'd stop as she could feel cold metal against her neck, as she'd somewhat gulp as she'd somewhat seemingly hear Naruto's voice telling her to to obviously surrender, or that in which she states she'd would, in which Kakashi clone Kakashi then could fight in which somewhat Shadow Naruto would dispel, revealing it to, of course, be a Shadow clone, and yeah, Naruto somewhat, or at least surprised and somewhat Sakura, Naruto hadn't moved at all. And yeah, though Naruto would somewhat then watch as Shadow Kakashi then also perceived to dispel in a puff of smoke, which would kind of confuse Naruto as how would Sensei somewhat get the memories back, not unless she'd go wide-eyed, or he would, as somewhat Sakura is that. Sakura just seen Naruto's eyes go wide, similarly momentarily, but would be kind of somewhat confused by it, kind of, not really think too heavily into it, as Naruto should somewhat realise that the clones, that the only way Kakashi would know what has happened was if the clones then, obviously not only would Kakashi, receive chakra like someone she did when she dispelled one of her clones, but it also gave the memory vaccine, which meant that she should have memories from her clones, and so closing her somewhat. So she perceived to then somewhat sit onto the floor, and somewhat would close her eyes, and after a while she'd actually somewhat find memories of her clones. She had received the memories, but she hadn't just noticed them, but hey ho, now she should, and yeah. Then she'd also realise that she may be able to use the Shadow clones for at least some training in chakra control and that, which, useful. And yeah, and so from there, Kakashi then perceived to tell them as they, or at least would perceive to tell them because it'd been obviously some time since they'd taken a mission. Yeah, they hadn't taken a mission since the Land of Waves. After all, that was an A-rank mission. It was unlikely Naruto was going to need a mission anytime soon. So anytime soon. And yeah, so though Kakashi would decide, as they'd kind of somewhat inspired with elements today, that after the mission they'd just be dismissed for the rest of the day. And that's what they would end up doing. And so the next day, when they would somewhat kind of return to Oliway, when Naruto would arrive, and when Naruto would go somewhat to the lake, Naruto would should momentarily kind of wonder, should know, if she used her in the clone, it would obviously aid her in pushing obviously the water back, which would mean eventually she'd still have to do it by herself, so it just mean it would initially aid her in kind of getting it down. Though of course once she made it, Kakashi, or at least would simply smile at her and would gesture for the clone to follow her. Shadow, or at least Naruto Shadow clone to follow him. Naruto would it would somewhat ask why, or at least Naruto would obviously ask why Kakashi was going to take his clone. And Kakashi would simply smile and state to a different somewhat stream, so that he could continue, so that he could get some so it speed up his training a bit. Though Kakashi would also suggest Naruto to make another clone and send it to the lake, so it could continue to practice the first level. Even though he may have completed it, it would still be somewhat useful to obviously do and obviously make bigger, as the bigger you can make it, the more easier it will somewhat aid in, or at least slightly in this, and as you get better at this, it will aid in making a bigger water ball overall, which would mean you could, or at least in Kakashi's and everyone else's mind, he would be able to control more water as a whole. And yeah, that would just somewhat nod and would mentally wonder if she should make more than somewhat one clone, maybe 2 or 3 or 5 more, but would decide to just make one more and it would go over and proceed to do that. And yeah, and so well, yeah, from there, though from there somewhat time would pass and she'd also finally learn level 1 of wind manipulation, being able to cut a leaf in half. And so from there she'd then somewhat went off trying to look for a freaking waterfall, in which she did eventually find a small one. Granted, it was only big enough for just her, and while she knew she could potentially find a much potentially bigger one with, you know, could hold maybe 2 or 3 clones, or at least her and a clone or 2, she'd somewhat, you know, decide that, you know, somewhat it wasn't right this moment her, you know, main focus, so it, you know, was fine. And well, yeah, anyway, though as I said, somewhat time would pass and it'd be about somewhat halfway to 3/4 of the way through the last somewhat 4th month as his team, as Naruto, well, it'd be somewhat the early morning. I should somewhat be kind of sitting on somewhat in our bathroom, sitting on the toilet. I should somewhat grown as she'd somewhat woken up with a stomach, wow, kind of snark, her somewhat low off, not being in the greatest of similarly moods. She'd somewhat mentally somewhat had thought that it had seemingly woken up on the wrong side of the bed. And yeah, once she'd finished going to the toilet, though just as she'd about to drop the toilet roll into the toilet, she'd somewhat freeze as she just stared down it. Instead of its seemingly normal colour in which he was doing somewhat, morning when he first woke up, it instead somewhat reddish, and it also had a somewhat smell in which she's both told off and kind of knew, which was somewhat blood. And well, yeah, so now properly, or at least somewhat being alerted, she'd look down to her somewhat panties to somewhat see that they were in, or at least did have somewhat some blood on it, and she'd somewhat mentally kind of groan. She'd allow a somewhat groan as well they were stained. And yeah, so she'd take them off and somewhat throw them in the bin, but then she'd realise she's on a period now, and yeah, that would it'd give her a bit of joy and also not. She'd just feel somewhat joyous, she'd feel slightly somewhat happy and, excited now, but also a bit confused, as obviously she's, wants a somewhat boy, and well, yeah, sorry, and so obviously was somewhat confused, not actually knowing it wasn't due to the fact she was once a boy, and that most cows would be somewhat confused, and obviously being alone, being somewhat, being somewhat alone with no parents, you'd probably be more somewhat confused about periods and that. And yeah, even though she potentially knew the reason why for them, it'd still be somewhat initially confusing. And well, yeah, anyway, though she'd somewhat also kind of realised the now feeling somewhat, or at least the somewhat discomfort in that somewhat in her lower regions, somewhat did feel familiar. Pretty much a month ago, she also somewhat found that as well. So she'd somewhat realise if she actually had a first period last month, but she'd also realise she actually didn't bleed, or at least to her knowledge she didn't bleed. Maybe she did, but it was very little, she barely even noticed, and which then meant she potentially stained all her underwear. But at that thought she'd somewhat momentarily think about, obviously going in, but she'd also realise that she probably, if she was, she'd just somewhat sigh as she'd go in, or at least somewhat to join the bathroom, and she'd somewhat wonder either pad or she'd somewhat think of either getting with either pads or somewhat tampon, and somewhat after kind of somewhat thinking for it for a bit, she decided somewhat tampon. It was somewhat better in a way, as she could obviously somewhat hide it. As I had to go inside of her while the pad was on her somewhat panties, and if she were to accidentally say lose control or somewhat of water and get wet, she'd kind of have to somewhat, obviously change the pad, whilst where if it was, tampon, it was inside of her, so she wouldn't necessarily have to change it until somewhat, Anyway, though, besides from that, somewhat that would similarly somewhat go by, and by, somewhat by somewhat the end of the 4th month, somewhat they would all reach 50%, though she'd reach it somewhat faster. So Sasuke and Sakura Sasuke would get 50% of lightning manipulation level to about a couple of seconds after Kakashi would tell them to dismiss them for somewhat lunch. Sakura had got about 10 to 20 minutes before Kakashi stated that, and Naruto got about 2 to 3 hours before that. So she already had a somewhat scroll and was starting to somewhat learn the somewhat jutsu, which was it would somewhat give Naruto a somewhat water style water clone. It would give Sasuke somewhat lightning style lightning grip, which could either electrocute and kill the person or paralyze the person, and somewhat Sakura fire style great fireball, though Sasuke would somewhat grunt and he'd state that he wanted a stronger run, in which Kakashi just sigh, and he'd simply state that Kakashi believed that they weren't kind of ready. Plus he'd state that Sakura kind of didn't have the chakra to do a potential somewhat A rank kind of jutsu yet. Plus Kakashi would also tell him that no matter what, Sasuke, I'm not going to teach you somewhat the jutsu I use, the jutsu I created, the Chidori. I'm not going to teach you that. Sasuke would just cross his arms, obviously not happy, and would just grunt. Though Kakashi somewhat knew he could obviously teach Sasuke, say maybe that, or maybe potentially a lightning dragon. He probably did, come across a lightning dragon, lightning style lightning dragon. He knew of a fire style fire dragon and water style water dragon, so he could teach the 3 of them that, or you could potentially teach Naruto the Rasengan. After all, it was somewhat a jutsu that Naruto should or at least should technically somewhat know, but he decided somewhat, well, for right now, kind of not to, mainly because even though Sakura could learn it, she technically is well, not the Rasengan, while Sakura could technically learn Fire Style, Fire Dragon, she most definitely didn't have the reserves to do it. And yeah, anyway, though we would state that he's kind of running out of somewhat jutsus for somewhat him to teach them, so this time they may not get one at 100% completion once they complete level 2. In which, well, yeah, though the only thing you would tell them, though, or at least somewhat Sakura and Sasuke, is to, like, they should obviously, try and train out, somewhat the jutsus they have. Try and reduce the hand signs, and yeah, he didn't tell Naruto because Naruto was obviously doing that in her own time, or his own time, and yeah. Anyway, as I said, though, besides that, well, yeah, some time passed, and yeah, yeah, it would be somewhat, well, yeah, time would obviously go by, and after about 5 months, 2 weeks, Kakashi would notice that there were more people kind of coming into Konoha, and somewhat he'd realise some were from a different village, and which he'd realise the tuning exams were coming up potentially within the next 2 weeks or so, and lo and behold, next week, at least somewhat the week after, so the last week of the 5th month as a team, they Kakashi tell them to meet him at about midday at their old meeting place on the bridge towards the training grounds, or training ground 7. And yeah, they were somewhat confused as to why, but yeah, though Sasuke was kind of watching, well, no, Sakura was watching Sasuke, and Sasuke was kind of looking off, baby glaring / brooding, off into somewhat space, whereas Naruto herself, or, well, yeah, somewhat herself was just kind of somewhat sitting down in a somewhat semi-meditative pose, training her chakra control. And yeah, anyway, though after a while, though, Kakashi was somewhat would arrive, and which Sakura would, or at least 10 minutes later, Kakashi would arrive to somewhat Sakura kind of letting out a sign, would simply say that he was late, in which they just check in and go, well, I'm sorry, I can't miss somewhat the somewhat meeting was kind of running a bit somewhat late, but yeah. Anyway, though, I've got something to give, something to use, and yeah, they would also want to look at him as he would perceive to go, or well, not somewhat, yeah, he'd kind of eye smile at them as he'd go, well, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there have been some, of course, gaining from other village coming into the village recently, and that's because the tuning exams are coming up, and well, I'm proud to somewhat announce that I've nominated you for the tuning exam. So somewhat next week, go to somewhat the academy to whatever room it was, you'd state the room, and yeah, so that, and you'd also show them, somewhat their forms in which Naruto couldn't help but do, the somewhat his cannon thing. Which was someone, jumping, kind of, gave Kakashi someone cuddle and, someone thank him, for obviously the chance for the tuning exams, and to obviously go into the tuning exams, and yeah, though, of course, even though somewhat most of Naruto obviously someone wanted it, a small grown part of her was telling her, obviously not to, but she'd kind of ignored it for now. And well, yeah. Anyway, though, somewhat though after that, Kakashi, or at least, yeah, though before Kakashi would leave Naruto, somewhat would stop Kakashi and would simply ask for a pen or pencil, to sign the thing, which Kakashi would slightly chuckle, and after finding one would give it to someone to him, in which he could sign it and give it back to Kakashi, or try to, though Kakashi would tell that to someone to keep it, and would explain to someone to hand it in to. And yeah, from there, though he'd also, of course, tell them during that they had the week off to relax or that, or during the week he would be, or at least between their normal training times from about 8 in the morning to about 3-4 o'clock in the evening, he'll be at training ground 7. So if they wanted any help or that, to go there, and he'd be somewhat willing to help them in certain things, or just to somewhat train them. They'd somewhat nod and Naruto would, or at least somewhat after somewhat believing, she'd somewhat wonder if she should tell Kakashi about having, training and somewhat wind manipulation. After all, training exams obviously something, a big thing, and after thinking about it for a bit more, she'd decide she somewhat would go and, she'd approach the, she'd go over to the training ground, or at least the next day she'd go over to the training grounds, and would tell Kakashi of her actually having a second element, that being wind, and that she'd been training it, in her own time this whole time, and that she, though he'd somewhat nod and he'd ask obviously what she currently was at, in which she'd state she's in, or at least currently level 2, trying to split a waterfall in half, and that she, though Kakashi just nod and ask what she'd somewhat like help with, and she'd simply ask him if he knew any somewhat wind-based jutsus, in which Kakashi would just somewhat smile and somewhat think. And though after a somewhat bit thinking, he'd somewhat nod as he'd tell someone Naruto like those 2 jutsus, somewhat wind style, wind bullet, in which would be helpful, or at least would be able to somewhat say, or at least somewhat if Sasuke and Sakura to do say Fire-style Fireball, you could do say Wind-style Wind Bullet, and enhance the overall strength of the, their Fireball overall, making maybe say combining them all 3 together into a single stronger Fireball. And if they were to do say Fire-style Great Fireball, then Wind-style Great Breakthrough, pretty much just a massive very somewhat strong gust of wind, which would be useful to, for the fire, Great Fireball, as it's a much bigger, obviously, Fireball. And if, attempted on the normal Fireball, it could potentially put the Fireball out. And something which she'd just nod at, and from there she'd end up learning the 2 jutsus, and would simply just work the rest of the week to get her hand signs down for the jutsus. And with that, I'm going to end this part here, guys. So if you have enjoyed this part, do tell me in the comments down below, and of course, guys, have a good day, and of course, guys and girls, have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are, and whenever you watch this, and good